Before you panic, before you walk away, before you declare this the end, pause. What if the very thing tearing you apart right now is life removing what was never big enough for is who you are becoming? Most people never find this out because they break down too early. They see one closed door and convince themselves the entire path has ended. They lose one person and decide love has turned its back on them. They stumble once and brand themselves a failure. But the strongest people carry themselves differently. They move as though everything is still falling into place, even before any proof has shown up. Before you conclude that your life is coming apart, stop for one breath, because sometimes what looks like rejection is actually shelter. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a setup. Sometimes the very thing you are hurting over today is the same thing you will one day be grateful for. But most people never arrive at that day. They panic before the story finishes. They quit before the lesson completes. They treat the first wave of difficulty like the final word on their life. They see one closed door and decide the entire road is gone. They lose one person and believe love has disappeared forever. They fail once and sentence themselves permanently. They encounter silence, pressure, and confusion, and immediately begin moving as if the whole world is positioned against them. And when you carry yourself as though everything is working against you, your body locks up. Your mind grows loud and restless. Your heart weakens. You stop noticing what is available because your awareness is swallowed by fear. You stop moving with dignity because you are constantly seeking reassurance from life. You stop believing in your own direction because you keep asking, am I going to be all right? Hear this clearly. The strongest person is not the one who walks a painless road. The strongest person is the one who moves through difficulty with the quiet inner posture of calm. Someone who already knows this is going to work out for me. Not because life hands out guarantees. Not because every desire arrives exactly as pictured. Not because optimism erases pain. But because something shifts in you when you stop resisting reality and begin moving alongside. Your choices sharpen. Your breathing deepens. Your actions carry more weight. You no longer move like someone running from a threat. You move like someone following a deeper call. To carry yourself as though everything always works out does not mean you drift through life carelessly. It does not mean you fold your hands and wait for the world to rearrange itself while everything around you falls apart. It means you discipline your mind to stop surrendering to panic. It means you stop rehearsing catastrophe. It means you approach every moment with a steady inner knowing that even if this road twists, fractures, or vanishes entirely, you will still find your footing. This is not wishful thinking. This is inner training. When a warrior steps into his practice, he does not arrive knowing whether today will deliver pain, defeat, correction, exhaustion, or breakthrough. But he enters with one commitment. Whatever arrives, I will turn it into something useful. If his body is heavy, he uses that heaviness to develop endurance. If his thoughts scatter, he uses that restlessness to sharpen concentration. If he receives correction, he uses it to deepen humility. If he falls, he uses the fall to practice standing up again. Nothing is discarded. Nothing is wasted. Nothing becomes his enemy unless he first decides it is. This is why two people can be handed the exact same situation and walk away completely, transformed in opposite directions. One person is let go from a job and says, my life is finished. Another is let go from the same job and says, my direction is shifting. One person is betrayed and says, I will never let anyone in again. Another is betrayed and says, now I understand what honesty truly costs. One person faces a delay and says, I have fallen behind. Another faces the same delay and says, I am being readied for something more. The situation is not always the one in charge. Your interpretation of it becomes the real authority. And many people are suffering not once, but twice. First, from what actually took place. Then from the meaning they constructed around what took place. The first wound may have been unavoidable. The second wound is often self-assembled. You do not simply live life. You live the interpretation you place on life. If every obstacle reads as punishment, you will move through the world as someone being persecuted. If every obstacle reads as instruction, you will move through it as someone being trained. If every ending feels like proof that nothing is permanent, you will guard your heart behind walls. If every ending feels like a clearing, space being made for something more fitting, you will be able to breathe again. This is why the work always begins on the inside. To act as if everything always works out is not about plastering a false expression on your face. It is about adopting a powerful internal position. Say to yourself, I cannot see the complete picture yet, but I trust that my next step carries meaning. Say, this discomfort is not here to undo me. It is here to uncover me. Say, even if this moment is pressing down on me, I am not done. Because the moment you decide you are finished, your spirit gives out before the lesson has even had the chance to complete itself. Many people say they want peace, but spend every single day rehearsing anxiety. They open their eyes in the morning and instantly reach for alerts, reactions, problems, headlines, comparisons, and noise. Before their feet find the floor, their mind has already sprinted into battle. Then they sit and wonder why they cannot seem to trust life. How can you trust life when you refuse to give yourself even one undisturbed moment to return to your own center? Every morning before the outside world is allowed to enter you, you must first go inside. Sit without movement. Breathe without rushing. Let the breath lead before anything else does. Breathe in as if drawing in steadiness. Breathe out as if releasing the need to have it all figured out. Not every problem demands a solution before the day has properly begun. Not every fear earns a seat at your table. Not every thought is an order you must follow. You are allowed to greet the day without dragging yesterday's wreckage behind you. The mind will say, but what if it all falls apart? And you say, then I will handle it when it does. The mind will say, what if they walk away? And you say, then I will remain rooted in myself. The mind will say, what if I fail completely? And you say, then I will grow from it and keep going. The mind will say, what if I end up with nothing? And you say, then I will find out what was never mine to lose. This is how genuine inner strength takes shape. Not by eliminating fear, but by refusing to let it sit in the driver's seat. Fear is loud because its job is to shield you. But fear is not always accurate. Fear is skilled at constructing danger. It is not always capable of recognizing where your life is meant to lead. Fear can preserve you, but it cannot teach you how to truly inhabit your life. For that, you need trust, courage, stillness, the capacity to remain inside uncertainty without becoming its property. Most people are not as afraid of failing as they are of not being in control. They want every move secured in advance, every person to behave predictably, every outcome confirmed before they take a single step. But life does not award mastery to those who insist on certainty. Life awards mastery to those who can keep moving thoughtfully, even when nothing is certain. A seed buried in the ground cannot see the tree it is becoming. It is covered, compressed, surrounded entirely by darkness. If a seed processed things the way most people do, it would say, why am I being pushed down? Why is everything so heavy around me? Why is there no light? Has life forgotten me? But the seed does not resist the soil. It works with it. The compression becomes the condition for expansion. The darkness becomes the place where the roots take their first grip. Perhaps you are not being buried. Perhaps you are being planted. Perhaps the weight you feel is not evidence that life has turned against you. Perhaps this is the precise pressure needed for the next version of you to take hold. But you must stop uprooting yourself daily just to measure your progress. Some growth cannot be seen while it is happening. Some movement is completely silent. Some of the most significant transformation occurs underneath the surface long before anything becomes visible. You may be healing and still feel exhausted. You may be advancing and still feel unsure. You may be closer than ever and still feel miles away. Do not dismiss the hidden phases of who you are becoming. Acting as if everything always works out means you stop requiring instant confirmation. You stop demanding that life narrate every chapter while you are still living through it. You stop forcing something open that needs more time before it is ready. Patience is not the absence of strength. Patience is strength under control. Someone without patience dismantles their own blessings by insisting on speed. They push conversations that require quiet. They pursue people who need distance. They settle for options that do not honor who they are because they fear nothing better exists. They make lasting decisions from fleeting emotional states. They grip life tightly with shaking hands and then cannot understand why everything keeps slipping free. When you truly trust that things are working out, your hands loosen. You still move, but without desperation. You still care, but without unraveling. You still want, but without making the outcome your identity. You still work, but without poisoning your effort with panic. Desperation says, I must secure this, or I am worthless. Trust says, I will offer my best, and what is genuinely mine will find its way to me. There is a completely different quality between chasing and aligning. Chasing is fear disguised as motion. Aligning is patience guided by purpose. When you chase, you leave yourself behind in the pursuit of something outside you. When you align, you become the kind of person who is capable of holding what you have been reaching for. Many people desire the right life without doing the work of becoming the right person for it. They want calm, but keep selecting turbulence. They want deep connection, but keep compromising their own limits. They want to grow, but keep sidestepping the discipline growth requires. They want to feel sure of themselves, but keep treating themselves like the opposition. How is everything supposed to work out when you are consistently working against yourself? To truly act as if everything works out, you must commit to your own growth without conditions. This means you stop fueling the habits that pull you under. You stop giving space to thoughts that eat away at your foundation. You stop placing yourself in environments where you have to become smaller just to belong. You stop repackaging self-neglect as consideration for others. You stop mistaking possession for genuine care. You stop allowing your history to dictate the terms of your future. The past may account for some of your patterns, but it does not have the right to design your destiny. Yes, you carry wounds. Yes, you have known real disappointment. Yes, there have been people who handled you without the care you were owed. But do not allow a single chapter to turn you against the entire story. Do not let what hurt you yesterday become the walls you live inside tomorrow. You can carry the weight of what happened without letting it write the rest of your life. The wound says close yourself off for safety. Wisdom says stay open with clear eyes. These are not the same thing. A sealed heart cannot take in what life is genuinely trying to offer. A clear heart can receive and still discern. So when you tell yourself that everything always works out for you, be clear about what you are actually declaring. You are not saying every person will remain. You are saying if they go, I will not abandon myself in the process. You are not saying every plan will hold. You are saying if a plan breaks apart, I will learn from it and find a new one. You are not saying pain will stay away. You are saying when pain visits, I will not let it rename me. You are not saying life will bend to your preferences. You are saying I will stay grounded enough to move with life rather than against it. This is trust at its highest. Fragile trust says, I believe in life when it delivers what I asked for. Unshakable trust says, even when I cannot make sense of what is happening, I will not waste myself on recklessness. Many people lose their momentum during seasons of waiting. They start out strong. They set a clear intention. They take real action. But when visible results are slow to come, doubt moves in. Then comparison follows. Then forcing begins. Then every choice starts coming from a place of insecurity rather than strength. Waiting seasons reveal the truth about your inner foundation. Can you carry yourself with integrity when no one is watching and no one is impressed? Can you keep showing up when no one around you can see any improvement? Can you hold on to your direction when everything feels quiet and still? Can you maintain your standards when something easier and smaller is offering itself as a substitute? This is the place where genuine character is forged. Everyone is drawn to the peak, but very few are willing to truly honor the path that leads there. The path is repetitive. The path is unglamorous. The path does not feel significant on most days. Some days your whole body aches. Some days the fog is so thick you cannot see more than one step ahead. Some days you genuinely wonder whether you are making any progress at all. But every step taken with conscious awareness reshapes you in ways you cannot yet see. Sometimes the mountain does not exist to give you the view. It exists to shape you into someone who can stand at the top and remain steady. What you are moving toward may call for a more settled nervous system, a quieter mind, a more honest circle of people around you, a more consistent practice, a heart that is both open and boundaried, and a relationship with yourself that is rooted in truth. So, if you are in a season of waiting, do not only ask when it will arrive, ask who you are becoming while you wait. If you receive what you asked for before you are ready to carry it, the gift can become a weight. The opening you prayed for can expose the preparation you skipped. The connection you wanted can surface the healing you put aside. The level you imagined reaching can amplify everything inside you that was never truly faced. This is why not getting things on your schedule is sometimes the most protective thing that can happen to you. When things do not land on your timeline, resist calling it failure. Sometimes life is guarding the person you are becoming from receiving what the person you currently are could not properly hold. Sometimes the delay is not a door being shut. Sometimes the silence is not absence. Sometimes the empty space is precisely where your capacity is being built. But the part of you that needs control resists this deeply. It wants evidence right now, confirmation right now, recognition right now. It wants to stand somewhere and say, I told you so. The deeper part of you has no need to be right. It simply wants to be free. And freedom begins the moment you stop struggling against what simply is. This does not turn you into someone passive. It means you stop spending energy wrestling with reality. If rain is falling, you do not stand in the street arguing with the sky. You find shelter, or you learn to keep walking through it. If a road is blocked, you do not stay there indefinitely cursing the obstacle. You observe, you breathe, you locate another path, or you develop the strength to clear what is in the way. Not everything that stands in your path is a personal attack. Sometimes it is simply the terrain of growth. The question is not, why is this being done to me? The deeper question is, how do I move through this without losing who I am in the process? When your questions improve, your access to inner power improves with them. The mind that asks, why me, contracts. The mind that asks, what now, expands. The mind that asks what this experience is meant to teach becomes wiser with every answer. The mind that asks what is mine to do today becomes genuinely productive. Never underestimate what one clear, honest action can do. When life feels unsteady, the instinct is to look for one enormous solution, one move that straightens everything, one conversation that shifts everything, one clear signal that dissolves all the uncertainty. But the real path is almost always built through small, sincere, dignified actions that are repeated day after day. Tidy your surroundings, move your body, stay hydrated, send the message you have been putting off, make the apology that your pride has been preventing, hold the limit you keep softening, complete the thing you keep postponing, rest earlier, rise with purpose, say what is true, let go of the pattern that quietly diminishes you. None of these are insignificant. Each one is a declaration that the person you are becoming deserves to be protected and invested in. Act as if everything works out by living in a way that honors your future self. Someone who believes their life has no future treats themselves accordingly, carelessly, without real investment. Someone who believes their life is worth something becomes intentional. They do not tell themselves that nothing matters. They tell themselves that every choice they make is actively shaping who they are. They do not wait around for the feeling of motivation to appear. They move because they understand that commitment outlasts emotion. They do not sit for ideal circumstances. They build order from within imperfect ones. This is the difference between someone who dreams and someone who builds. A dreamer pictures a life they want. A builder trains toward it. A dreamer waits until they feel ready. A builder creates readiness through action. A dreamer hopes circumstances align for them. A builder becomes the kind of person circumstances align with. You cannot keep requesting expansion from life while your habits are still rooted in contraction. You cannot ask for peace while continuing to return to what disrupts it. You cannot ask for confidence while consistently breaking the promises you make to yourself. You cannot ask for abundance while every decision, every interaction, every quiet thought operates from a place of scarcity. Scarcity tells you there is not enough, that you are not enough, that time is disappearing, that others are moving ahead while you are falling back, that you need to grab at whatever becomes available. Abundance tells you there is room for your specific path, that you can move with deliberate patience, that what is genuinely meant for you will not ask you to betray yourself in order to receive it. This is not arrogance. This is a stable foundation. When you are settled within yourself, you stop treating every external event as a referendum on your value. Someone does not respond and you remain intact. A door does not open and you do not dismantle your own confidence. A plan reroutes and you do not lose your footing. You feel things deeply. You are human, but you do not become those feelings permanently. Let grief come through, but do not give it a permanent address. Let fear have its say, but do not let it make the decisions. Let disappointment register, but do not let it define what you are. This is what it means to have emotional discipline. Strength is not the absence of difficult feelings. Strength is choosing a grounded action in the presence of difficult feelings. Feeling doubt and returning to your practice anyway. Feeling hurt and refusing to pass that hurt forward. Feeling completely lost and still taking one honest step. A river does not halt because something large appears in its path. It shifts course. It moves around what blocks it. Over time, it gradually reshapes even the hardest stone, and it continues moving. This is the nature of water. Patient without being powerless. Yielding without being stopped. Quiet without being small. It does not draw attention to its own strength. It simply keeps going. Can you become something like that when you are misread or misunderstood? Can you keep moving without having to defend yourself to every person who has already decided what you are? When one direction closes off, can you redirect without treating yourself as defeated? When life becomes genuinely heavy, can you keep pressing forward with softness rather than hardening into someone unrecognizable? Bitterness presents itself as a form of protection, but it is really just a different kind of trap. It sustains old pain by making that pain your permanent identity. It instructs you, do not trust, do not open, do not attempt, do not hope. But a life constructed entirely around never is not security. It is a gradual erasure. You were not placed here just to protect yourself from being hurt. You were placed here to become fully, completely alive. And becoming fully alive requires that you try again, not recklessly, not without having absorbed the lessons, but with a heart that has grown wiser from what it has already carried. A heart that says, I have known real pain, and I choose not to let that pain become who I am. A heart that says, I have experienced real loss, and I choose not to build my life around the belief that loss is inevitable and permanent. A heart that says, I have fallen before, and I choose to rise again without carrying resentment as fuel. This kind of strength is rare. Almost anyone can become hardened by enough difficulty. Very few can stay genuinely open and still see clearly at the same time. When you walk through your life carrying the posture of someone who knows things are working out, you bring that uncommon strength into everything. You stop entering spaces as though your right to be there must first be approved. You stop spending energy justifying your worth to those who have already made up their minds. You stop pulling back your presence because it makes someone else feel exposed. You stop offering apologies for wanting a life that actually feels like yours.